great blunders. I'm gonna actually say that because I like.
But you know
No,
what?
no, shh, we're recording. Shh. There's a red light on the studio. Put it on. The red light. Imperial blunders in history. Jack Black here. Blackjack, Jack Black. Doesn't really matter. Jack Phoenix here. And as I said, I would be on location in the Plush studio. Of course, my associate consumed all the blinis, the Iron Gate caviar, the Moet Imperial nectar, and all the sable, smoked salmon, all the good stuff. It's all gone. I hate women. And he said how delicious it was. But anyway, now to talk about it, I'm not going to go too crazy. But how about this? Imperial Power's great blunders of history. Okay, I love this. Since we're in the United States, for lack of a better term, united, not too united, but we're going to try to keep it together as a country. Anyway, let's start with the debacle that we created in the Middle East. Now let's face it, if you go back in history, the Middle East started as a mess. You know, you can't just draw lines on a map and say this and that. And by the way, the Hashemi family in Jordan, they got chipped. If you look at the map, Transjordan, which was a British protectorate, but it became an independent country, aristocracy. Okay, the way they drew it, it's got no oil. They drew well, you know, you didn't participate that much in the defeat of the Turkish Empire, so you don't get as good a thing. It kind of sounds like that to me. I don't know. I wasn't at Versailles, with the Arab princes and the criminals that made up, well, Lawrence of Arabia. Yes, no, the movie. It's true stuff. Yeah. They loved orange, okay, and I always loved, in the movie, no prisoners, and they just slaughter. I mean, it was basically an armed train, Turkish armed train. Now, the Turks were militarily well equipped, machine guns and everything. And this horde of Arab Bedouin warriors swarm, and, it's just epic. And things like this really did occur. But anyway, in the ashes of World War One, okay, that this occurred, this movie set, which is real life, okay. What happened was they basically, Saudi Arabia. Now, Saudi Arabia. Saud, it's the family of Saud. It's kind of like the mafia. Now, the whole thing is, a lot of people don't know. How come Saudi Arabia didn't fall under the umbrella of the British? Well, see, this is the whole thing. And it's ironic in history the way things work. There was a guy named John Philby. Okay. Ironic, he was a traitor to the British Empire, but he made a lot of money probably out of the deal. Like it happens a lot of times in history. Anyhow, John Philby handed over basically the kingdom of Saudi Arabia, to Brown Brothers Harriman and Wall Street. Coincidentally, the Bush family was in there. That's why you always see the Bushes arm in arm with the prince, like they're about to get married in a state where getting matrimonial situations. Yeah, now Biden is doing a fist bump, so I don't know. Don't look good. But anyway, so basically, John Philby and Aramco is Arab American, But at some point in time, the Saudis said, this shit, we want a bigger piece of the action. But still, Now, Kuwait, we're going to talk about Kuwait. The British felt gypped. And by the way, not to just go off on a tangent, John Philby. Doesn't that name Philby sound familiar? Sure, it's familiar. His son was Ken Philby, who was a Soviet spy, a traitor to the British Empire also, but to a different, enemy, I guess. The enemy of my enemy's enemy, I don't know, I lost track. I don't know who he could be. But anyway, so basically, that's how that occurred. Kuwait was, listen, this is what happens when you win a war. I get all the good toys and stuff. Like the Taliban, they got all the good toys. As I said previously in one of the previous episodes, you hate the Russians, you hate the Iranians, you hate the Chinese. You're with us. Keep all that good stuff. The night vision goggles. There was a lot of money and stuff like that. Keep it. Even those wrong uniforms we spent $30 million on that. It didn't match the Afghan terrain. You can have that too. What the hell? You use it. I don't know. You'll find some terrain. Invade one of those other 3 countries. Anyway. So, I mean, this is the basic petri dish that we have now. And Israel, this guy, he was actually one of my landlords way back when in New Jersey. He was a crazy Puerto Rican guy. Yeah, I remember I opened the back of his van and there were 9mm shells. I kept a couple of souvenirs. Shh, don't tell it. But anyway, and you know what he said? He said, yeah, in Newark, people say, oh, is that a Rolex? And they say, Israel? Stupid, I know. Once in a while, you can't be all serious with this geopolitical things. People start to say, this is too much. So you got to kind of just, I wanted to throw a little humor in it. It was stupid. I'm sorry if it offends anybody. It really is stupid. But anyway, it's a creation of the ashes of World War I, and then the diaspora, rightfully so, of Jewish people that were refugees from a horrible Holocaust. And these people that deny it happened, let me tell you something. This might be off the subject of, the Imperial blunders, but, it's okay. This is even more important. That if that's the case, and people are going to deny, let me tell you something. I saw the footage. I saw General Patton. Now, he loved war, Patton. No, we gotta go get the Russians now. I'll drink to you, you son of a bitch. We're gonna come get you, you commie bastard. No, he wanted to keep going. That's why I think they killed him. No, they killed him. Yeah, they had to, because he was like General MacArthur. He said to Truman, I'm in charge here. I think we're gonna use nuclear weapons against Red China. What? I'm president. Well, one thing about McCarthy, he was a real prick. The man lived, he didn't live in the United States for probably over 30 years. I will return. But anyway, not to America. Only old soldiers don't die. They just fade away. Okay, McCarthy, give your speech as you massacred a bunch of bonus soldiers in 1932. World War I veterans had no food in the height of the Depression, and you sent cavalry in with guns and wrecked their homes and killed a bunch of them. Congratulations, you're a real nice guy. No wonder why you left the United States. And you became Emperor of Japan. You ran Japan after World War II. But anyway, Patton, I don't know if MacArthur would have had any heart. Well, he wasn't in the European theater. He was fighting the Japanese. But MacArthur and Eisenhower went to Auschwitz. And the look on their faces. And if people want to deny that, Kanye West and bring some white supremacists to Trump's house, and Trump says, oh, I didn't know he was going to bring him. Oh, come on. What kind of crap is this? He's going like this. secretly, no, I'm with you guys. No, I'm not. I'm saying that is really Trump. In military school, everybody else is studying tactics. I mean, it's military school, right? No, he was watching movies and newsreels of Stalin and Hitler and Mao. No, that's why he's all friends with Kim Jong-un there. Oh, he did such a good negotiating. Yeah, like in the previous episode, there's lots of nice nuclear phalluses coming out of North Korea now. Good job, Tom. Keep it up. 2024. Okay. But anyway, okay, that's a horrible thing. People that deny that. It's like a revisionism. Worse than that, guess what? Like I just mentioned him, Kim Jong-un wants to hit every nook and cranny of America. And our friend Vladimir, his head is getting very big. Putin, I hope he don't. We could be in trouble. I mean, a dying man. What the heck? I think I'll turn the keys. America, look what they did to my beautiful Soviet Union when I worked for the KGB as a colonel. He actually killed people. Listen, he's a different kind of, I wanted to use certain words we use here in the interzone, but it wouldn't fit the standards that this acclaimed broadcast organization YouTube would be happy with, so I won't say those words. But so in other words, denying the Holocaust means, what the hell, let's kill a few billion people. Not necessarily a bad idea in terms of the resources available for the planet in the upcoming years, but not a good way to do it. Let's find a more surgical way to do it. Well, unfortunately, Corona did not meet that challenge. That's a terrible thing to say, but let's face it. And I read a book by a man named Barry Commoner. He was an advisor to John Kennedy. He was a brilliant man. And it's called The Lean Years. Now, this book was written in the 70s. Guess what? It's a very appropriate title. Soylent Green. You got to tell the people. Soylent Green is... I'm not going to give it away. Anyway, let's get back to Imperial blunders real quickly. Because I know that, I think I went a little bit off on a tangent here. But, so as a groundwork in the Middle East, you have this situation, Kuwait, set up as a British protectorate. And in fact, getting back to the Turks, their empire, they had a seriously large empire. Them and the Austro-Hungarians. A lot of people don't know about them. They were one of the top shelf empires. But Yugoslavia, they had all that territory. Okay? And they were kind of friendly with the Ottoman Empire. They kind of, mixed it up a little bit. They weren't enemies. But there is no Kuwait. I don't even know where they got the name. I have to research it. Maybe somebody can send me some information and let me know where it came from. It does not exist. It's Basra. It never was anything else. People should pull up Turkish maps that go back 700 years, 500 years ago. Look at them. When the Janissaries were the Turkish soldiers, basically elite soldiers. Look it up. There was no Kuwait. Now, this is a fact. Saddam Hussein, through his ambassador, Tariq Aziz, asked permission to go into Kuwait. He didn't just invade it. Listen. If the ambassador of a country that's important is approached by basically the foreign minister of another country and said, listen, we're going to annex Kuwait, okay? Because one, they're slant drilling, and they were doing this. They were actually drilling oil into Iraqi territory. Now, Kuwait had plenty of oil. They shouldn't have did that. That wasn't right. And according to what I'm saying, really, Kuwait is not really a legitimate country. It's just something that the British, because of the money. We could, in another episode, we could talk about Iran and what happened there. It's all about the oil and the money. That's what Saudi Arabia was about. That's what Libya. That's what Iraq. And like I said, Iran. That's what these things are all about. There's no caring about humanity or anything in these cases. It's all about money and oil. So anyway, they asked permission, and April Glaspie, our ambassador to Iraq, said to President George Herbert Walker Bush, listen, the Iraqis say they're going to annex Kuwait. So Bush, and Jesse Jackson, I must say, he's very profound, he's right. Stay out of the bushes! W wasn't a bad guy. From what I understand, he's into painting now. No, he did do something very, very not cool, though. I saw the video. It was pretty sad. Him and Clinton went to Haiti. After I think it was an earthquake or something. And George W. Bush shook hands with a Haitian man and walked up to Clinton and went like this and wiped his hand up. But I don't think George W. Bush is a bad man. I think that Dick Cheney was president with his father. That's my opinion. Other people might say that's terrible to say. I happen to like George Bush. I even had a dream with him once. Yeah, I swear I had a dream with George W. Bush. It was the craziest dream. Yeah, I went to his house in Texas. I forget the name of it. I have a blank on it. But, and he said, I said, oh, hi. He goes, oh, no, you can't sit here. And there was like a couch and a nice television. That was looked like a normal kind of house. But he said, no, you can't sit here. You got to come with me. I said, okay. So he took me out back, and it's like, no, it was a vivid dream. It was one of those lucid dreams. You have a dream of Humphrey Bogart or George W. Bush. You're going to remember dreams like this. But anyway, and there's like a big screen TV. I don't even know if it worked. Sitting there, and like rusted furniture. Like... like totally like a back of them, so like somebody like maybe like a, I don't want to cast any aspersions. You know what I'm saying. So he goes, this is for you. This is where you sit. And I looked at him, and then he said, yeah, no, I can't walk over there. There's that stuff there, and it gets in my shoes. And I said, stuff? He goes, yeah, that stuff that's over there next to the furniture where you're going to sit down. I go, what is that stuff? Oh, you mean the sand? He goes, yeah, that's what it's called. But anyway, let's face it. The first Gulf War was a travesty and was more legitimate, at least, because technically Saddam did invade a country. But, like I said, stay out of the bushes. Because, not to jump back, I don't know if this was as much an Imperial blunder as, Jefe, you stabbed me in the back. Yeah, Manuel Noriega. Now, there's a reason why he survived and you know, they didn't execute him or anything. Because he said, Jefe, boque es cerrado. I'll keep my mouth shut. Because let me tell you something. Loose lips sink bush. You got to make sure that that plane flying in from over there, Lockerbie, 747, they just retired. Actually, some sheik was going to pick up the last business one, and he died, and then they just said, forget about it. They didn't even put the interior. I think they flew it to that airplane graveyard in Arizona. Anyway, what was I saying? About, oh yeah, so that plane, I forget the number, the flight number, All those poor Syracuse students. Terrible, right? But at least you killed McKee, the State Department intelligence officer that had a suitcase strapped to his arm. You know, this is how they did it back then. You know, nobody's gonna take this fucking information. Well, that kind of did it. So, which basically said Iran-Contra was ironic too. George W. Bush was born June 13th, 1924. The exact same date as my father. And my father's middle name was Herbert too. But his father-in-law wasn't a Nazi eugenicist that believed in racial purity and race horses. So, anyway, not to go off on a tangent. Sometimes I just have to. But anyway, so George Herbert Walker Bush was Iran-Contra. Now, Ollie North, look, he got a good deal. He got his own channel. Fox, right? And Poindexter, you didn't hear anything about him. I guess maybe it's his name. Ollie North. It's got a good name. No, like Jack Phoenix. Same kind of thing, right? Right? It's got a ring to it. Poindexter. Sounds like a little kid in the corner with like a hat on. Right? Anyway, but so Noriega said, Heavy, you know, they help you with the Iran-Contra. You know, with the Yale, you know, the cocaine. Listen, you know the American way. I want to go into business for myself. Is that okay, Jefe? Vice President George Bush. Manuel, amigo, no problemos. Go on. Well, you gotta make money. Sure, absolutely. That's the name of the game. Then, election. Michael riding in a tank with a helmet looking like an idiot. Dukakis, poor man. Lambs to the slaughter. There's no way he could win after Reagan. Because Reagan handed the baton to George Herbert Walker Voodoo Economics, which is what he said about Reagan. Yeah, it's hilarious. You can't make this up. And by the way, not to go off on a tangent, you know who was having lunch with the Bush family when Reagan was assassinated? Yeah, what's his name? What was the kid's name again?
Not Reagan was
the kid that has tried to assassinate Reagan. His family. I go blank. Anyway, they were eating lunch with him. Not that Bush wanted him. Well, because he was a spook, you know. Oh yeah, he said it in the hearing, Bush Senior. Excuse me. He was never in the CIA. How about this? Like animal house. How about this? George Bush Senior. This is fact. 1961. Bahia de Cochinos. For those that don't speak Spanish, Bay of Pigs. Now, Operation Zapata. The ship. Right? How about the Barber? How about the other ship, the Houston? Now, am I stupid, or do these people of a certain persuasion have no imagination? George Bush Sr.'s company at the time was Zapata Offshore. His wife's name? Barbara. In fact, he named every one of his Dauntless torpedo planes. Yet one got shot down. Barbara. Barbara 1 and Barbara 2. The ship wasn't Barbara 3. It just was Barbara. And Houston, his adopted home. He was a Connecticut Yankee. W was born in Connecticut too. They're shapeshifters. They're like the Clintons. And by the way, Bill Clinton, the most frequent visitor at Kennebunkport. Yeah, Kennebunkport. You know, they sign like a book, famous people. Oh, look, you know. Okay. They're all they're all thick as thieves. Believe me. anything that you see in the media, most of it is just smoke and mirrors, just presentation for the public so that people get interested one side against the other. But anyway, so President Bush, President Herbert Walker Bush, becomes president. All of a sudden, Manuel Noriega, drug dealer, Operation Just Cause. What? Pepe! Oh, amigo, you stabbed me in the back. You said I could do it. Next thing you know, he's in the Vatican embassy with them blasting, I don't know, it wasn't good music. It was rock and roll. I'm going to detest it. It was bad rock and roll, loud. But anyway, okay, so that wasn't really so much an imperial blunder as a dog wiping off his trail with his tail dragger. I would entitle it, no, it was imperial blunders. What happened? Tail dragger. You know, you said no. But I don't know what to tell you. Somebody said, can you prove that they knew about the bomb on Lockerbie? Sure they did. You mean it was just coincidence that man happened to be on that plane with that information? Yeah, it was just coincidence. Could it be? Just like it was coincidence that Bahia de Cochinos, which was, Kennedy said, what? That's some fake ass thing. No, that's not real. I'm not sending American troops in for that. Bunch of B-26s with some phony markings and, you know. But anyway, in the hearing, when Ford was president, and George Herbert Walker Bush, who was head of Republican National Committee, by the way, recommended to Nixon. Who do you think overthrew Nixon? Not the Democrats, fools. The ultra-right in the Republican Party did not like Nixon. Nixon established EPA. Nixon established OSHA. I got news for you. In retrospect, I look back on Richard Nixon, and I remember 1974 riding my Stingray bicycle and cheering his resignation. No. They set him up. These were all ex-CIAs. Bush Sr. was all set up. You know how many break-ins there were before Watergate? Please. But anyway, so Gerald Ford became president, and Bush always wanted to be head of CIA. I was spooked. Nobody knows. I could use some very nasty words, but I'm going to control my razor tongue. Anyhow, so in the hearing, he said he never was in the CIA. Spook. This is a bunch of poppycock. His uncle Neil Mallon was head of recruiting. That's Harvard against Yale. Hold on one second. Okay, CIA is Yale. Kennedy is Harvard. That's the dichotomy that we have in and by the way, the Clintons technically, Yale Law School. Come on. Clinton, I don't want to get into him because it's off the subject. But, so it was a total, absolute lie. He was in the CIA. He planned a ridiculous fake invasion, which Kennedy didn't buy. And it is ironic that I saw a photograph of George Herbert Walker Bush in Dallas, November 22nd, 1963, in front of the book depository, and there was those Dallas motorcycle policemen with those crazy tricycle motorcycles, and he's there, and it was him. And the CIA denied that there's a George Bush even working in the CIA. That the George Bush, it's a different George Bush, and he's in propaganda. and he wasn't in, information. He wasn't in Dallas. Listen, when your uncle's head of recruiting, then information can be shifted around. It happens in a lot of companies when there's what you call nepotism, for lack of a better term. But anyway, not to get off field. So, getting back to Imperial blunder here. The Bushes, Imperial blunders, revenge, okay? The first war, as I said, they did to Saddam what they did to Noriega. Anyhow, I hope I didn't go too crazy with you folks tonight. I know I was all over the place, but you know those endocannabinoid receptors, when they're fired up, we gotta go with the flow, like I said earlier in one of my live remote views. See you later. Signing off.